Welcome in. It's the ATB show. You can catch all the stuff at atbshow.com. That is where all the links for all the places that you will run into rubber shoes in the morning, in the afternoon, the night, talking about hats, talking about jerseys, talking about cats, promoting the show, which we've done a horrible job of doing this week. I mean, we did a great job. Rubber Shoes talked about every time we said the show was going to be on. And I fear probably your last promotion, Rubber Shoes, you might have said that it was going to be me, you, and Corey. And now it's just me and you, because I got to give credit to all these networks that do all these shows, and they've got correspondents all over the country. Like, all we're trying to do is get one more of us on, and Corey's in Texas. Now he's an hour behind. And when I sent the invite, it was 7 our time. It shows up in his calendar, Google, thank you, at 6. And then it was touch and go for me because I had an engagement here at work. I said, I'll be done. I'll let you guys know. And then I just told you guys, Rubber Shoes jumps into the green room, and we're waiting on Corey. And then I just called him. He's like, oh, yeah, I can hear the silverware. He's at the restaurant. He's like, I'll be back at my hotel in like 20 minutes. I'm like, you're off the show. It's fine. We're going to give you the night off. And then last night was just a cacophony of errors. But here we are, Rubber Shoes. We got it done. We're brought to you by our dear friends, Joe and Leslie, over at AAA Work Trucks. Rubber Shoes, hit us with it.
Yes, brought to you by AAA Work Trucks, your one-stop shop for all your work truck needs. If it goes in or on a vehicle, it's a good bet AAA can take care of it for you. So give them a call at 866-783-6222. Or check them out online at aaaworktrucks.com.
It's so cold out, and you still went with no undergarment under. Is that a Larry Bird shirt? What are we wearing tonight? What's happening?
Jason Tatum.
It's a Tatum. I mean, I know it's got the Nike logo, so it couldn't be a bird. But sometimes they take the new shirts and throw the old stuff on. I wasn't sure.
I don't think.
Do you not have a bird?
I don't think they had a green Boston shirt back in the day. What's that?
Really?
Yeah, I think the away shirts, the white.
Oh, you're right. The Boston shirt. I apologize. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
They just said Celtics, I think, back then.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like
I feel like a Larry Bird.
I was just going to say, I feel like I don't want to know the answer to this, but you do. Okay. Because if we're going to go back, you were a Magic guy. You weren't really a Bird guy. You were a Magic guy.
Back in the 80s, definitely Lakers.
Oh boy.
Boy. So have you had a chance to watch the HBO series? What do they call it?
On the Lakers.
Showtime. The Showtime one.
I have not, although everybody I see that's in the series looks like it's all people I would love to watch. I just haven't gotten to it. I mean, Adam's still pissed I haven't watched the Bulls series. And I haven't. I still haven't watched the dance. Yeah. Yep.
So Showtime, which I was totally shocked, the second season actually was pro Celtics.
Really?
Yeah, it ended in, so I think it was the 86 season where the Celtics won.
Mm-hmm. Is that on HBO or Showtime? You just said Showtime. Is it HBO?
HBO, okay. Sorry, okay. Yeah, HBO.
Right. Oh, I wasn't sure if it moved. I'm like, that'd be a hell of a...
Yeah, it was really good series. It's funny. So I started watching Sopranos again, and thinking back that Sopranos was the first series from one of the cable companies that they had, swearing and all that on, that it was an actual series. That was like the original series that sparked all these other ones on.
Yep. And it was that. I mean, that opening music. And that was really the one, I think, maybe for both of us, but obviously speaking for me, that was the series that made you feel like, and to rewind a little bit more, I remember being in college and going across the hallway to Brian Clary's room because we would watch The Simpsons, like all the Fox shows. That was Sunday night. It was like a thing, right? Thursday night was Seinfeld. God, I'm dating myself. But Sopranos Sunday night on HBO was like appointment television, and it was so good. It's funny, you can go back and watch that show and still appreciate it. There's some shows now, like I love politics, and I never watched West Wing, and I've been encouraged time and time again that I should go watch it. And I fired it up, and this is a handful of years back, because West Wing is how old at this point now? I fired it up years ago, and I got about 30 minutes in, And I was just like, and not like, because I know the administration in that show politically might not be in alignment with me. That wouldn't be my issue. There was something
Yeah.
about it that I was just like, it's almost too old. Like it's like some of
Yeah.
those shows you can't watch now. It was almost
Like our
challenging.
current president?
It wasn't. Oh, Jesus. He's not here. He's not here to defend his boy. You can't. It's a challenge. Who am I talking about? It's a challenge even for me. And this is super dorky, but I'll say it out loud. Just watching Suits and remembering how long ago Suits started, and at the beginning of Suits, they weren't using, like, the predominant phone wasn't the iPhone, right? And
I've never watched that.
and the computers were like Dells and HPs. And it was just so funny because you saw as the shows progressed, and I'm in season 8 now. Everybody's marching around with iPhones, and it's still a mix of computers, but I find that interesting. Like, I'd love to go back and watch it again because it was such an absolute brain twist. Was the series Lost?
Oh yeah,
and I think because it was. I think because it wasn't attached to tech, or there weren't things like that would jump off the screen at you. I think you could probably go back and watch that. And I don't know. I don't know if I would understand it again, because it was so confusing when you watched it.
I think I would love to see that series redone on, a show where they could swear and have nudity and stuff like that, to see the different ways they could go on things, that they didn't because they were on regular TV.
Before we get to the sports, since you brought up like a remake, did you see the trailer during the Super Bowl for Twisters?
Yes.
And it's so obvious if you remember.
I made a comment.
It's so obvious if you saw the original Twister. It's so obvious that it's just cut and paste, right?
It looked exactly the same.
Yeah, it's very cut and paste. And
except there's a twin tornado in it. That's why they're calling it Twisters.
Twisters, yeah. Oh boy. My question for you, because there's such a lack of new content or new ideas coming out of Hollywood. Yeah. The one movie that, and it really, I mean, I guess it will probably, because it was too late when it hit for it to hit the award season this year, so it'll probably be in the award seasons a year from now. Did you and Steph by any chance watch Saltburn?
No.
Have you heard about it?
No.
It's different.
I can't remember.
It's different. It's on Prime, and it's different.
The last movie that we've watched that hasn't been like either Star Wars or Marvel.
Okay.
It's like I've watched some like by myself at the fire station because stuff that she's not really into, like horror movies.
Yep.
But yeah, together, like we've tried. There'll be like nights there's no sports on, and and we're home. Hey, let's try to watch a movie. We go through about an hour trying to figure out what we would want to watch, and then we're like, yeah, I guess we're not going to do this.
Honest to God, if like I told you how we behave when it comes to these kind of things, you would assume all of my likes and dislikes are Janina's, and vice versa. Like, she will not sit and watch a movie. And, the last one that I actually sat and watched was probably Saltburn over the holidays. It has to be a very specific series for her to sit and watch. And like, she'll watch stuff vicariously through me. I'll be watching it and she'll tolerate it. But then there's shows that I want to sit and watch, and she's literally Candy Crushing or on social media, but she just doesn't want it on in the room because it annoys her. So there's stuff that I will watch when I get home from golf and she's still hiking or something like that. But she would much rather, like, if there's a random college basketball game on, this is going to make Scotty fall in love with her. If there's a random college basketball game on, she'd rather watch that, where I'd be like, I don't really care about Schenectady State versus Northern Georgia. I'd rather watch episode 4, season 8 Suits. And she has no desire to do that. She's a sports junkie, which I'm grateful for, because I'd probably lose my mind if she wasn't. And we watch a ton of stuff on YouTube, like all the golf creators on YouTube. We watch all that kind of stuff. There's so much good stuff on just that. Never mind. What's the last network television show before we jump away from viewership? What's the last network television show you can claim that you watched?
Um,
And I guess I have to say Suits
it's
because it wasn't network though. Suits was on USA. It was different.
So there was the Goldbergs, and
Okay.
there was the
Did you watch that show because you thought it was about the wrestler? Be honest.
no, and I can't remember the name of it. It was the sitcom with it was like a Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, those are probably the last two that we've watched
Okay.
together.
Yep.
I've watched all the the Star Wars.
Yep.
And that well, that's not network TV. Yeah, so
Sure.
those were the last two that were on network
TV.
TV that we yeah.
I think the last thing I watched that was on network TV, but we watched it after the fact, was Scandal. Olivia Pope. I can't think of Kerry Washington. Yeah, it was so good.
You don't watch
it was so
anything except comedies. Like right now, there's I think Everyone Loves Raymond's on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's either Everyone Loves Raymond, The Office, or Seinfeld every night. That's what we're watching.
Yeah, The Office is great because you just put on Comedy Central and it's on.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's just always on, which is incredible. That's such a good show. That's another idiosyncrasy that Janina has that she can't seem to shake is there are certain shows, excuse me, there's certain shows, and admittedly for me too, and I would blame it on Michael. When you watch The Office, there are certain moments in the episode that it gets so uncomfortable. She's like, change the channel. Like he's made you so uncomfortable. Yeah, he's made you so uncomfortable. You're like, is this like unwatchable now? It's unwatchable. Like you want to leave the room, and like, well, I don't need to leave the room. I'll just change.
Have you seen the trailer for If with Ryan Reynolds, and he has the Asian guy that played Jim for that one opening?
Yes.
Oh, hilarious! Because John Krasinski is the director of that, and so they sat down and did that, and he was it was awesome.
Yeah, he was their actor friend who went in to play the prank on Dwight, pretending to be Jim. They changed they changed the family photo and everything. So good. Yeah. He's like, check your voicemail. You can't check your voicemail. You don't know the password. You do the password. That was really good. It's really well done. I guess.
Oh, you saw the thing with If that they did that?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. That was really well done. Really well done. Your halftime show. How do you feel about what happened for the halftime show?
I loved it.
You did? Okay.
Could have used a little more singing, but I didn't. I liked the show, and that's definitely my. Well, I mean, I was probably. Let's see, that was late 90s, early 2000s. So
yeah, yep.
I was still into that the R&B back then. So
I guess the challenging thing, like to give him credit, he was singing.
Yes.
And the challenging part of the beginning was that he was singing, and there's not a piece of Usher that's out of shape, but it was clunky. It's like Janina said, the only correlation Janina could draw was like when he was on the field, it was weird. As soon as he went to the stage, it's like his energy came back, or he just sounded better, or he was no longer out of breath. It was clunky when it wasn't on stage. And then as soon as he got to the stage,
he probably didn't move as well on the grass as he does on the stage.
Yeah, and it was it was really well done. And I still think last year Rihanna was so good last year.
Yeah,
but she didn't bring out 38 different people, which he did.
Every person that he did collabs with, they got to do their own song also.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty cool how he did that. I really enjoyed it.
He did a really good job.
I was looking forward to it, and I enjoyed it. I definitely it's hard. They're getting 15 minutes to cram their whole catalog in, and I'm sure people are like, "Oh, I can't believe they didn't do this song or that song."
Yeah, right.
He's cutting them up as short as possible to not be too short. And
he transitioned very quickly. Yeah.
So
Yep. But
it's
they did a good job.
it's a tough thing. Yeah.
They did a good job.
He's going out on tour this year.
Yes. Yep. Well, he dropped music that day,
Yeah.
and Beyonce dropped her new music.
Oh yeah, I saw that commercial.
Apparently from the skybox. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Um,
from the space shuttle, right?
from the space shuttle. Yes.
That's
I
in the
don't.
commercial. She
Yes. Yes. Where's Steph on her? Does Steph like Beyonce? Do you like Beyonce?
yeah, I don't think her newer stuff we haven't really caught on to. Like
Yeah.
we definitely love the Destiny Child stuff and probably her couple albums after
Yeah.
when she was solo. But that big thing we're looking forward to, her big Valentine's Day gift was tickets to Justin Timberlake.
Oh.
She is so excited because it's like every year that he had come around and it was like the tickets are so expensive.
Yeah.
And she would always be like, I don't want to see him that bad. I don't want to see him that bad. And when he announced he was touring,
Yep.
I'm like, so, and she's like, yes, just don't tell me how much it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
What?
of course, I was at the fire station the day that the tickets went on sale. I
Mhm.
get a call. I come back and they're already all resell tickets. And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like, this isn't going to happen. And then I didn't realize that he had added another show to
Mm.
Boston.
Mhm.
So she told me about that. I went on there. I was able to get tickets, and it worked out because the first night I was at the fire station. The night I get the tickets, I'm not at the fire station, so I don't have to
Yep.
take time off to go. So it worked out better,
Yep.
and they were affordable-ish.
Affordable-ish. We're not going to share. We're not going to share.
It was the resell when I was looking at those, they were over $400 a ticket for balcony seats.
Sure. Yep.
I was like, yeah, I don't think
Yep.
that's gonna fly.
It's unbelievable how expensive the concerts have become.
Yeah.
And then everything's plussed out. You know, I mean, Janina obviously being a huge excuse me, a huge New Kids fan. You know, so many of our friends who still go to these shows, it's like, well, you don't just get your tickets. You're getting your tickets, then you want the VIP, or you want to sit on stage, and the numbers go. You know, there's two numbers in front of the comma for some of these packages, which ultimately, unless you pay a really high price, like the VIP stuff's cool, we're going to get our picture with them. Well, I can tell you because Janina's done it enough times. You go and she's getting her picture, but this is like she doesn't know you and Steph. It's Janina and her friend, you and Steph, and like 8 other couples.
Oh,
that's
so
you
it's
getting
not
your
a
picture with
personal
them.
one.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, unless you pay a certain tier, right?
yeah.
So that all of that is going on, and it's fascinating.
And
Fascinating.
the thing is, it's so a lot of people that are scooping up these tickets aren't even going to the show because they're already, like, I mean, minutes after they went on sale, they were already reselling.
Yep.
And it's like they got to find a way to. They're expensive enough, and that you got these people hoarding them and just reselling them for ridiculous amounts of money.
Yep. Yep. We saw the coolest thing we saw with Justin, and I love his new single, by the way. Nobody asked, but I told you anyway.
I don't think did I hear it yet?
Oh my God, it's so good. New single's phenomenal.
All right, I
Phenomenal.
gotta
Selfish.
check that out.
So good.
I knew he was dropping the album in March.
It sounds like old Justin.
Okay.
It's the new single's
Like
phenomenal.
Cry Me a River.
No, I don't know if I can put my finger on it, but as soon as you hear it start, you'll realize what I'm talking about. Like it's Selfish is so good. Really well done.
Yeah. Because we were the one year that we really wanted to go was when he was touring with Jay-Z, and they were at the Fenway, I believe, and it was like over $400 a ticket. Like, that's gonna happen. I'm like, who are these people that are affording these tickets?
We went and saw him a handful of times, 2 or 3 times, maybe 4. And one of the times he was at the Garden, and then Janina tracked down. He was doing like an after show on Lansdowne after the fact,
nice.
And it was like a 1 a.m. show. I think now I'm like, I can't believe I stayed up that late and I went to a 1 a.m. show. But with the
I know.
with the 1 a.m. show, And I was losing my mind because I've always loved Christina, and she was on this tour with him. And you
Oh,
saw this little tiny thing in a fur coat march in, and I'm like, oh my god, she's here! And they performed together. It was super. It was awesome. It was so cool. And I don't remember what those tickets cost, but Janina heard a rumor
yeah,
and found out, and we went to that. And he did almost
nice.
another full set. It was so good seeing him in a tiny little show like that.
So, speaking of getting old and staying up late, so
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Saturday night, I was
Mm-hmm.
at the fire station, had a horrible night, didn't get any sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow I didn't fall asleep during the day on Super Bowl Sunday. I stayed up for the whole game.
Oh my god, you fell asleep.
No, I stayed up for the
Oh.
whole game.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I'm going to bed at like midnight, and idiot me doesn't even think about it. I'm like setting my alarm for 4 o'clock to get up to go to the gym. And I was a freaking zombie on Monday. I
Screwed,
was
yeah.
like, oh, horrible.
I feel like I got to halftime. I forget. Janina would probably love to give you the details on what my sleep pattern was during the game. I think I got to halftime, and then third quarter. I mean, I'm happy to tell the world. I mean, she slapped me senseless and like woke me up for overtime, and I was just so annoyed because well, it was you felt good if you were and you know, I think we all guessed it right. I said the Chiefs are going to win, which breaks my heart. And
I picked
I
San
said,
Fran.
I said the Chiefs are going to win, which breaks my heart. I wanted San Fran, of course. And I think I said 27-22, so I wasn't that far off,
Yeah,
25-22. I was pretty close. But um, when it came out and it was all over the place, and I was just like, I'm watching, but I'm like, I don't care enough to like fight to keep my eyes open. And if something
yeah.
amazing happens, and she was wide awake, she was up, and then she woke me up for overtime, and I was just like, oh dear God, oh dear God,
I
like
actually by myself at that point because Steph, I think, right, she knew because she didn't want Kansas City. So
mhm.
I don't, I think before the end of the game, she like San Fran had done something, and then Kansas City was getting the ball with a chance to tie. She's like, "I'm going to bed," because she at that point she's like, "Kansas
Just
City's gonna
annoyed,
win."
just annoyed.
And
Yeah,
Tyler was bringing his girlfriend home, so I was out there by myself, which usually ends up with me falling asleep, but somehow
absolutely. Yeah,
I stayed
power
up
through.
and,
Yeah,
um, yeah, I didn't have a I had no trouble, which was so strange because I was so tired, but I didn't have a problem. Like, I wasn't even close to nodding off at all at any point. It was a real good game.
it
I
was.
the f so, okay, it wasn't a it the whole game was not really good. It was a really good ending. I think the first 3 quarters were kinda stale,
It's crazy. It's crazy
especially
to
the
think.
3rd quarter.
Only yeah. That's why you lost me in the third quarter. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And you make such a great point. Only the second game to go into overtime. Only the
yep.
second Super Bowl to go into overtime. The other one was much better, of course.
Which
God bless.
so
God bless
I was
Tommy.
in a, Squares, Super Bowl Squares at work, at
Yeah, I had
AAA Work
terrible
Trucks,
numbers. I had
and I
terrible
told
numbers.
so Joey and Leslie's daughter was running it, and I
Oh
told
boy.
her, I said, "You might wanna put 1st, 2nd, 3rd quarter, and final score." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "'Cause I was in one the year that they went to overtime one time, and when it comes to money, people can be assholes, and if you don't say final score, there people are gonna say, 'Oh, you said after each quarter.' So I had these numbers after the 4th quarter, so I win the final prize."
Yeah,
And it's
such a
like,
great point. Such a great point.
so
Yep.
I told her to do that, and she's like, "Thank you so much for telling me that because, yeah, it would have been, you know," which it it's because it's money that people get stupid about it, but common sense tells you it would be the final score. But
Sure.
if you
Of
don't
course.
put it out there,
Yep. Yep.
people get stupid, you know?
Yes. Welcome to the most litigious country on the planet. Yes. Yes. I will be very upset if I don't get my $35 or whatever the pool was.
So what are
I was in one.
you
I had terrible numbers in mine.
how are you
And
sitting with the
Janina's office does.
Brady Mahomes thing?
Uh I'll be okay. Here's the thing. and Janina hates the shows that we watch for this very reason. We knew when we watched quarterbacks on Netflix, she's like, oh God. She's like, Mahomes on quarterbacks. We're gonna end up liking Mahomes. And I thought I did, and I'm not saying I don't. He's a good kid. I don't have any issue with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You watched he didn't invent that workout regimen just for the show on Netflix. He's dedicated. I give him a ton of credit because last year after they won, he said, Brady left me the blueprint. I know what I need to do insofar as pliability, the finances, leaving money on the table for other players. He's doing all the right things, and he's just talented. And I say this, and we all can remember the combine photo of Tom Brady. He was no Adonis at the combine either. It is funny though, if you caught him at the parade the other day, somebody was joking about dad bod Mahomes, and like he had like camel pants on and the jacket, no shirt, jacket's open, and he's got like a little pudge going. It's just sort of funny. Like he's not the washboard abs and all that kind of stuff. The fact that he played all the sports when he was younger, and he played a lot of he was still doing baseball up through when he got to college is when he finally went full football, right? Like he was playing a lot of different sports, and he talks about the fact that the baseball piece more so. Never mind like playing, and I don't remember what he played for baseball insofar as like shortstop or whatever. It might have been shortstop. Wouldn't surprise me. He was a point guard and the quarterback, and they're all very similar. And just like you have to make everybody around you better, and it's about distributing the ball. And all those wacky passes he's making that nobody gets to say that, oh no, the shovel passes and all this kind of stuff, the sidearm stuff. This is all stuff he's brought to the table. And you have to give him credit. It's horrifying that he's doing everything at a better clip than Brady at his age.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how anybody can look you square in the face right now and say he doesn't catch or pass Brady. If he stays healthy, healthy, there's no reason he shouldn't. Do I want him to? No. And is it really going to matter? No, it's not going to matter because Brady still did something remarkable. He still did something remarkable. Like he's still like because you can go back and be like, well, Mahomes should have because look where he ended up in the draft and all this kind of, you know what I mean? Like there was more expected of him. This was expected. Everything about Brady doing what he did was so ridiculous. Not to mention too, because this will be the little asterisk when people start to have this conversation moving down the line is, but then Brady left and the very next season did it with his new team. And that's the tattoo. That's the tattoo on Brady right now is he brought the stink with him. And every day that coach doesn't have a job, which he still didn't get hired today, as we all know, like it's really
that's the
coming
thing. He's at some point, because I don't think Andy Reid has 10, 15 years left in him.
Mm-mm.
So at some point he's going to have another coach. And, I'm not taking anything away from them. They won it all. He's won 3 out of 4.
So aggravated.
But I'm saying, this year they were vulnerable. Like Buffalo should have beat them. Baltimore just choked. They were the third or fourth seed, Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a good season. They don't have great wide receivers like they had in the past with Tyreek.
Yep.
Kelsey's getting older. Like he doesn't have the stuff around him for the second run right now. So Brady had the early part, then they were still making playoffs and playing well, just didn't win any championships. And then the second run, he got, Gronk and got the second T Edelman, those guys around him. So he's losing pieces. He's going to lose Kelsey. I don't think Kelsey has too many years left in him. So is he going to have the longevity that Brady did? But he could win 7 and 10 years, the way this is going.
Travis was talking to his brother Jason on their podcast, and his brother was calling him out on his bullshit and bumping into coach and yelling in coach's face. And like I could sit here and tell you that I do see the passion. I don't think he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
I think spending more time looking at the microfiche when you watch him run into coach, he actually does put his hand out to hold coach.
Yeah.
Like in the same moment, in the same, I can't believe I'm defending Travis Kelce. In the same moment that he's bumping him and yelling in his face, like I get all that, and I also get the people like, oh, so everybody who doesn't punch their coach in the face doesn't care and doesn't want to win. Like I get both sides of it. I don't think it's as malignant as it looked and as it came across. I do think it was, in the heat of the moment, and he was annoyed he wasn't in, and all this stuff, and but that's also egotistical. Like, oh, like we wouldn't have fumbled if I was blocking. That's the one dig against him if we want to start comparing players.
Yeah.
Gronk was a great run blocker.
Yeah.
Travis is not, and that's why he wasn't in. And I think, but I think at that point, I don't think there were many people on the planet. All right, that live in New England, that love Tom Brady and love what we have. I don't think there's a lot of New Englanders that at that moment were like, yeah, this is getting away from him. Mahomes was visually rattled on the sideline. You got Kelce picking fights with coach. Like it was getting away. And that proves how great what they just did is they put it back together in the locker room. They came back out and they figured it out. And it's amazing.
And
it's annoying and amazing all at once.
And that's the thing where it's like, I know it's not all Brady. It takes a whole team. And that's what, this run that they had, the Kansas City defense kept them in the game, kept them close enough that let Mahomes figure it out at the end of the game and be able to, other than the Baltimore game where they were ahead the whole game, they had to come from behind and almost in every game except for that Baltimore game. And, I know, I listen to New England sports radio, so of course it's going to be skewed a little, although Felger and Maz, they try to needle the Patriots fans. But they even agreed that he doesn't come in the conversation of the GOAT until he at least has 7 like Brady has. And then you start the talk.
Interesting. I love that argument. I can get behind that.
Because they said, people said you can't call Brady better than Montana until he has at least 3. And then when he won the 3, then they were saying, well, he's got to have more than him, because Montana won 3 out of 3. And,
4-0. Yeah.
So,
yep.
It was, So, but it's the thing. It's hard. There's a reason why there's only been one guy to be able to do it. It's not easy. Injuries happen. You lose players. It's hard to get, he's shown that he can make chicken bleep, chicken salad out of chicken bleep, because this year they had chicken bleep for most of their team.
What are you excited about for the Patriots in the offseason? And
well,
do you
number
like
one,
the coaching staff so far?
Oh, I don't hate it. We don't really know because a lot of these guys have never done it before. So we're going to find out together how well they're able to gel. I'm hopeful. I'm kind of, I wanted a reboot. I like Mayo. I don't think he's going to run things the same way Bill did. I don't think, technically people are going to say he's a Bill guy, but I don't think he really is going to be like, and he's got a lot of help around him because he's never done this before. He's never been the defensive coordinator, never mind the head coach. So there's a lot of people helping, and I think that's why McAdoo is here to give a little, even though he was horrible as a head coach with the Giants, but I think he can help. There's a lot of stuff that goes on besides just coaching linebackers,
Yep.
Now you have to, even though you may give Van Pelt the offense, he's the offensive coordinator, you can do what you do, but you still have to oversee it. So I'm excited to see the new era start, and I am so torn with the draft pick. Like what I
Oh,
feel.
interesting. What do you want? What do you want it to be?
I mean, my heart wants May from North Carolina,
Oh, really?
but
Okay.
um, part of me, I don't mind like if they traded for Justin Fields and took, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. there,
Mm-hmm.
or even 'cause they need so much help on the offensive side. They need linemen, they need wide receivers, they
Yep.
need a quarterback. It's
Yep.
not like they can go in, they need one piece. So the the thing is that free agency opens up before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna get an idea of what they're gonna look for in the draft because they're gonna have to sign some people. And my my thing, the ultimate thing would be like they're not gonna go out and get Cousins and then draft a guy. They're not gonna pay Kirk Cousins the money he's gonna get to come have tutor a guy. They're
Yeah.
gonna have to get like a Minshew or
I'd love
like
Uncle Rico.
Geno Smith, but Geno Smith just re-signed with Seattle. But someone like that,
Mm.
a second, even a Jacoby Brissett, or not.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Jacob? I feel like that's not right. Was it Jacoby
Bris-
Brissett?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
because I know Jacoby Myers. I'm like, wait, did they have the same first name?
Yes.
So someone that can play a year, maybe two if you have to. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't want to throw a rookie quarterback into the fire right away because I think that it hurts too many quarterbacks than it helps. You have to be able to take
Mm-hmm.
disappointment, and a lot of these guys have thrived everywhere they've been so far, and then you're gonna get your ego knocked down a little bit playing
Right.
as a rookie, and I think that's what really hurt Mac Jones. He lost his confidence, and that's a huge thing playing in professional sports. If you lose your confidence, that's it. It's hard to get it back.
Yeah. Yeah. That wasn't. It was unfair what he. I mean, looking back and assuming he's gone because that seems to be like
Yeah.
people think he might still be around, but yeah, he got put through the ringer with hyperbolically, I'll say it, 15 different offensive coordinators. Like the cast around him kept changing, and the middle year with Joe Judge and Matty P, and clearly not getting the calls in time and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there was a lot of back and forth, and I think maybe in a would never be perfect, but a better environment, he might have thrived. I think there were a lot of things that were done incorrectly. And it'll be interesting over the years to see what eventually leaks out. Excited for tomorrow. The Patriots have that Apple special coming on. There's an Apple documentary tomorrow night that launches, which is going to be crazy. And yeah, it'll be interesting. The couple of things have happened that are going to be really interesting. Like, are we going to find out? Because it seems to be true, because I feel like I'm hearing it in the stuff that I'm listening to with Boston radio is, it truly was a craft pick, and coach never really wanted to go with Mac.
Yeah.
I also don't think that he's that childish or unprofessional that he wouldn't try to make the kid succeed. But I think he got to a point. I think he got to a point where we're like, why are we still playing him? It was sort of like
Right.
an FU. You ordered it.
Yeah.
You got it. This is what I'm serving up, in the immortal words of Bill Parcells. Like, you won't let me fucking shop? That you're eating it. You're eating it. This is what you ordered, The other thing that's going to be really intriguing is him coming out and really doubling down on the fact that, like, oh no, we wanted to spend. And you can't say that, because the report is, and the number, the pesky math doesn't lie. They have been horrible in spending versus all the other teams. And then you got Kraft coming out and saying, no, we've been great. We've encouraged it. And Bill had control over all that. Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah.
And he's almost forced his hand, because he just went and screamed from the rooftops that he's Spendosaurus Rex. So if he gets alligator arms when the bill comes, pun intended. Like, he can't do that. Like, he has to now go on an absolute spending spree this winter to prove himself right, which I'm excited for, because even if he doesn't want to do it, he has to. And I don't know that he doesn't want to do it. I think the affordability that was around him, because Brady made things more affordable and made some of the really bad groceries taste better. I think back, did you ever watch the movie the Big Short? I know you guys don't watch movies unless there's wrestlers or superheroes in it. Great movie about the housing crisis back in 2007, 2008. And Steve Carell's in it. It's a phenomenal movie. It's called The Big Short. If you ever get a chance to watch it, watch it. And the analogy I'm drawing from it is there's a scene with Anthony Bourdain, who's since passed away. But they would use different analogies to try to explain the financing or what was happening with mortgages. And they were talking about the subprime mortgages. And they're like, we're going to let Anthony Bourdain explain. They cut to him. He's in the kitchen cooking, and he's talking about, it's Sunday. I'm at a major New York City restaurant. We've got some fish from Friday night. He goes, I wouldn't serve this up plain. I wouldn't try to put this next to mashed potatoes and asparagus. I'm going to repurpose it. And he talks about how he's going to chop the fish up and make a fish stew. And that was the subprime mortgages. And I think in the grand scheme of things, Brady made some of the old fish around him palatable.
Yeah.
And he made they didn't, it's not that they wouldn't go into their wallet. They didn't have to go into their wallet because they found deals and they found people that worked in the system that you'll probably never see happen again. And I don't think Belichick and Brady collectively get enough credit. I know everybody talks about it all the time, but that's going to be a big part of the story too. Like, whatever happens with Mahomes and Reed versus Belichick and Brady, and what they've both built, is that Belichick and Brady did it, with the free agency and the fact that stuff can move around. And I know it's happening now, but they were coming out of a time in which it wasn't really a thing, and adjusted to it really well. And the reason Mahomes and Reed will be better at it is because they sort of got the blueprint from the Patriots. So
I would like to touch on the Red Sox.
I'm waiting for it. I love it. Yes.
So first day of spring training, pitches and catches reported. Mm-hmm. They interviewed the day before they started having some practices, and they asked Corey, about, does he want to be in Boston? He's like, oh yeah, I don't want to talk about it. He called in sick the next day, the first day of practices, had a stomach bug, didn't show up for the first day. I mean, he's a lame duck coach this year. He's on his last year of his contract.
Yep.
And I don't think he wants to be there because, one, he can see the writing on the wall that this team is going to be horrible this year, and they don't want to do anything to try and improve it. This could not be the right year for them to do a docuseries, because it's gonna, if they do it and show everything that's going on, this thing could get ugly this year. It would be really, I might have to get Netflix just to watch that, because it could get really interesting if they actually show everything that's going on, because this is not going to be a pretty season.
I know. I was talking to my mom about it, and she's so excited for the Red Sox, and like I am too. Like I think everybody's excited for the Red Sox because it represents so many things, like spring and just
and
great time
nice
of the
weather,
year.
And
all that stuff. It's going to be brutal though. It's really going to be brutal. Like, just no, it's going to be better today. It's not going to be better today. It's going to be just as bad. The pitching's terrible, and I don't know. And I don't know. Yeah, it's not. That's not. Do you think he wants out? Like, why doesn't he just walk away? Like, why doesn't he just pick the fight now and be gone?
I think if he quits, he doesn't get paid.
Okay.
I think if they fire him, he gets his contract. He gets paid a full for the year. So I think it's they're. I don't think Breslow wants him either because they've already. So the guy who was running the practices that day
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even like the bench coach, like Cora's bench coach. It was the pitching coach who was picked by Breslow. So
Mm.
I think there's a big lot of infighting gonna be going on if it already hasn't started, and it'll be. I think probably management because a lot of people like Cora. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
fire him before the season starts. They hope
Yep.
that they start off really bad and that they can get rid of him. I think that's so it doesn't look the fans don't get pissed off that
Yep.
they just fired him to fire him.
Who will they slide in? Who's your no-brainer?
Well, where they have this guy that Breslow likes, I would assume Veritek if he's still on the
Mm-hmm.
staff.
Mm-hmm.
I would think him, but no handpicked by Breslow. It could be this guy. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Daly, I think his name is. But yeah, it could be. And part of me still hoping that they want to sell the team. That's why they're doing all this and
To
going
me,
really
yeah.
cheap.
Well,
Because if this is just their philosophy, this is horrible.
and then Theo coming back to town feels like and yeah, they're not. It's to Theo coming back to town boosts the image of the Fenway Sports Group,
Yeah,
and also probably puts a little bit of shine on the team. I there's a lot of ego there. I can't imagine they're going to walk away from something that is still just churning money because it's a tourist attraction. I I'd be thrilled if they. I'd be sad if they did because I'd be thrilled if they stuck around and continued to be curators and take care of this thing that we all love so much. Because I don't. My biggest fear, as emotionally disconnected as they feel as an ownership group right now, because they've got so many other things going on, and Fenway Sports Group, and now this new interest with the PGA and all that kind of stuff. Like my greatest fear is that some group that has no connection to this zip code, to this part of the country, truly comes in and just burns it to the ground because it's just another line item in their portfolio. That's more horrifying because you could argue, well, we're just a piece of their portfolio right now. It could be much, much worse. And I think that I hope they're just going through some stuff. I hope they're figuring it out, or maybe they're truly testing the waters. How shitty can we get and still get 37,000-ish people to buy tickets, not show up, because that's what's happening. Right? Because a whole bunch of kids got Red Sox tickets for Christmas. And then you're going to get to the game, and then they're not going to go because it's just terrible. Or like, oh, I'm not going to go sit in 90-degree heat while Tim Lindsay pitches. Who the hell's Tim Lindsay? Exactly. They're probably going to call me, It's that bad.
Yeah.
But they don't care because they got the ticket money, and sometimes they don't because you actually paid through a reseller and they didn't get a ton of money. They got the money that the tickets were bought for originally. I think that's a huge misconception for a lot of people. And what do the Red Sox love? They love rain delays, right? So when Steph and Bill Corey buy their tickets, no matter what they paid, but you never get there and spend another 100 on food and drink, and then you go and buy a hat because that's what we do, and then Steph wants a hoodie, and I don't know. They're going to run into the ground. I hope not. But my biggest fear is somebody that truly doesn't care about this region buys it and is totally disconnected. Like if you ever watch, and I know I've talked about it before, Welcome to Wrexham. That is the ideal outsider coming in. What McElhaney and what's his face? I can't even think of his name now.
Ryan Reynolds.
Thank you, sir. Reynolds and McElhaney. What they're doing over there is that's a dream scenario, right? And I'm sure the Liverpool fans feel completely different about John Henry and the Fenway Sports Group, right? So I don't know. It's interesting. What else do we need to tackle?
Oh,
your Celtics. Your Celtics.
Celtics. Holy mackerel!
Yes.
They went into the All-Star break on a little bit of a high there after last night's
Mm.
just destruction of the net. Obviously, the Brooklyn Nets forgot to bring their game from Brooklyn for the last game because the night before they made it a game of it, and last night it was over by the end of the first quarter. And so they have a week off. I know Tatum and Brown will be at the All-Star festivities, but
Mhm.
they're gonna have a few days off before, a few days off after. They don't play until next Thursday. It's a good rest. They need a rest because it looked like the last couple weeks they kind of were playing, I think, tired. So they get revamped, look for the second half push.
Mhm.
And, I really want them to keep the number 1 seed. Last year they were right about where they are now, and they kind of went in a tailspin and
Yep.
ended up losing the number 1 seed. I really want them to keep the number 1 seed because home matters this year. They are really good
Yep.
at home this year. So
Yep.
I think having that in the playoffs is a positive thing. And yeah, they look. I love Porzingis. He him being the unicorn and yet, he's a different player, but never really got to see him a lot
Mhm.
in his career up until this year.
Mhm.
So you kinda had what you thought what type of player he was. Like, I thought he
Sure.
was just a big guy that hung outside and shot threes, that's basically
Yep.
what I thought.
Yep.
He is a well-rounded, very smart player, can play in the post, can play outside, can pass. It he's I'm surprised at how well on defense he is. And I I'm I hope they can keep it together, because they gotta pay Tatum a max contract,
Mhm.
and Porzingis, I think, has this year and next year, and then
2 year,
he's
yeah.
gonna get another max. Maybe he takes less knowing he's the 3rd guy on the team, not the top guy. Maybe
The
if they
Brady
win a
effect.
couple.
I'll take less. Go on without
Yeah,
me.
I think this year, if they win it all this year, I think the ownership puts up the money and keeps it together and rides it for as long as possible because
Mhm.
the, the problem with the new collective bargaining agreement where there are different sanctions, call it,
Mhm.
that if you stay in the second tier of the luxury tax for so many years, you start losing draft picks. You can't. It's like you can't get a draft pick above a certain number for a few years. So they really try to get you. So the thing is, they're going to have to stay together, run it out, and then it's going to be like when Bird Parish and McHale ended. They didn't have much in the tank after they left,
Yep.
as I
Yep.
I was talking to Joey, uh, today about that, he's like, "If Len Bias didn't die and if Reggie Lewis didn't
Oh my
die,
god,
they
right?
probably would have been a better run in the '90s than they did have,"
Mhm. Mhm.
but they didn't have anything.
No.
So it was tough until, Antoine Walker got there, then they had a little bit of a push, but, until they got the second big 3. It could be so do you take 3 of it's gotta be multiple championships. You can't just win 1 and then like how Garnett, Piet but those guys
Yeah.
were later in their careers. You
Yep.
have a solid core here that if you can win 3 or 4, it's worth it to go, 5 or 6 seasons without something and being, a middling team. I'll take that. But if they
Oh,
only win
1000%.
1 and then go in the tank, that's not. But I think if, um, if they win this year and ownership wants to
Put the
win
money
multiple
together, right? Yep.
championships, they'll do it. But they gotta see it this year, I think, because next year they gotta start to do stuff,
Well,
and
and
they
the other thing too is, and I feel like this conversation circulates around the Celtics more than any other team in Boston. The whole I don't want to be there for the cold weather. I don't want to be there for the the perceived racism. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It exists in every city. And we have
Yes.
assholes at the Garden too. Yes, I get it. Absolutely. And footage in June of our boys on duck boats will make that great player somewhere else in the country be like, you know what? They're not just near it;
Yeah.
they're in it now. This is a good
Yeah.
run. I could be the new fourth piece, right? Because they,
Yep. Yeah, then you have
that. And I'm not saying Drew Holiday's not here, and he's awesome. He's been great, but
yep.
who is that next piece that would consider, and they're about to go get their next big contract, but I'm good. I
Right.
want to shop around, and Boston is a place I want to be because
Holiday's already said he wants to stay.
I love it. Love it. It's gonna be obnoxious.
Yeah.
It could be
It's
absolutely obnoxious. And Wick's smart enough to know, and I know this isn't a thing anymore, but this is the analogy I always use. Like Wick's smart enough to know right now he could 4,000% outside of the Bruins. He can steal he can steal the back page of the Herald. Like you can be the talk of the town right now. Because we don't know what, like to your point, we don't know what to expect from the Patriots. I don't think it's going to be amazing until they get it together. It takes a pro program. It usually takes a head coach 3 years to put their stink on it. So we might be looking at the next 3 years. If they even give Gerard that much time, I think Thunder loves him. I think he's going to get all the time he needs. The Red Sox, dear God, the Red Sox are the Red Sox, and the Bruins got a great thing going. Like there's no reason there should be a couple of parades this summer, God willing. But the Celtics can change the conversation around why would you go to Boston very quickly with a parade.
Yep.
1,000%.
People like winning.
Yes.
I mean, we had plenty of players that came to the Patriots that just wanted a taste,
Yep.
And it's
the challenge is, to your point, to keep the ingredients in place to keep winning is going to be very expensive. Do they have the cash for that person that says, you know what? I would go play over there, Be interesting. Before we jump off basketball, quickly, actually, being at the break, who's the Celtic that surprised you the most? I mean, I know you talk about Porzingis, but he didn't surprise you. You're pleased with how well-rounded he is, but
yeah, I got to say, Luke Cornett.
Okay.
I was worried about him being the guy behind Horford and Porzingis, and he's a solid player. He's a very smart player. That's another thing. So so Joey runs the other business that they own, and it's in the back part of the building. So every once in a while,
this sounds dicey. I like it. What is this other business?
They do they restore old cars.
Oh, I love that.
He's hands-on in that. He works on the cars himself. So
he's in that
end of the building.
Nate would love to talk to him. That's Nate's.
Yeah.
That's Nate's. Oh God. Yeah.
And so we'll cross paths usually once a day, and we always do our Celtics minute together. And that was one of the things we were talking about was Cornette. That I was like, yeah, he reminds me of Greg Kite. He's not the flashy player, but he's in the right place. You know where he's going to be. And he told a story of back when Larry Bird, there was a game where there was like 6 seconds left in the game. Bird had the ball and he passed it to Greg Kite to win the game. And the reporter asked Larry, it's like, you had a chance to win the game. Why did you pass it to Greg Kite? And Larry goes to the reporter, is like, apparently you don't know how good Greg Kite is. And it's like, yeah, the guy was open and he passed it to him. Why wouldn't I do that?
Right. Yeah.
And that's the type of player Cornette. He knows where to be on defense. He knows where to be. He's not, athletic looking. He's not fast or quick, but he's smart. He knows where he has to be, and that's who I would say I'm probably the most surprised with this year, other than Porzingis. And you?
I guess everybody was so excited about Porzingis. I wasn't questioning that. My fear was that Drew was going to come in and not be. And I every city would argue that they suffer the same affliction, but like we'll have somebody come here and it just doesn't work out, or
Right.
they weren't the same person. And like, can we
Kyrie
hit on?
Irving.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thank you. Can we hit on both? And we're hitting on both right now.
Yeah.
And I think, and I hate to say this because I don't think he was the problem, but I think his ingredients leaving the soup made a difference. I think Marcus not being in the locker room, not that he was a problem, but the room, the court didn't have enough room for that. All those personalities.
Yeah.
And I think there was like sort of some elbow room and some breathing room, and they all know what their role is. Like you said, Cornette, it's clicking better. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you still had Marcus here that it would be clicking better.
I've been calling for them to get rid of him for seasons because I think he was holding back the Jays. Marcus was there first. He was acting like it was his team
Mm-hmm.
and you're parts of my team. And he would take those big shots when he shouldn't. You know, that's the thing with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday could be a much better player, like stats wise, on
Mm-hmm.
this team if he played like Marcus Smart did. But Drew Holiday knows his role, knows what he's out there to do. And some nights they're going to ask him for a little more scoring,
Mm-hmm.
but he knows his role. He knows it's Jason Tatum's team, and then Brown, and then Porzingis, and I'm fourth. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I think that's why Porzingis loves it here is because he's the third guy. He does every team he's been on before. He's either been the first or the second guy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's we were talking about that also. That why maybe Porzingis takes less money because he likes that he doesn't have to be the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you don't get a max contract. You leave a little on the table just
Yep.
to stay where you're comfortable. So it'll be interesting, but let's stay in this season. Let's not look ahead and
Mm-hmm.
let's enjoy this. And that, like I've been saying since last summer, they just got to stay healthy. Just
Yep.
get me to the playoffs healthy. And I, even with the trades that people have made, I still think Celtics are the best team out there.
Any truth? Do you think there was the whole rumor about the Lakers were at the Knicks? And I don't know if it was in the locker room after the game or if it was somehow it happened on the bench, but LeBron was marching around with a Knicks towel around his neck. And there was some scuttlebutt around it. And just there was sort of like is he going to piece out of LA and make his final move to New York and have Bronny meet him in New York and do it there? Just to check that box and check that
Tell you
market
what,
off?
he's going to have to play a couple seasons before Bronny gets to the NBA, if he makes it to the NBA.
You think Bronny's not going to translate well?
He is not good this year.
No, it's not hitting. I'm not paying
And
any
whether or
attention.
not that has to do with the heart condition that he had,
Sure.
something go. So
Sure.
I don't know if he needs to recover from that still, but
Yeah.
he is not having a good rate. I saw something they said right now, Bronny would not be drafted by anyone this year. Definitely, he's not. He's probably not even the third or fourth best player on his team right now.
Interesting.
Never mind
Okay.
being, you're going to be a top 60 player in the country.
Right.
He's not even top player on his team. So he's at least a draft away before he's going to be here. So I know LeBron he has a player option for next season, which he says he doesn't know what he's going to do with it yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're too old. That team is too old with him and AD. They cannot put they scared me last year. They went a lot further than I thought they could, but I think that was I don't think they have that in them. They can't play a full playoff season.
Yeah, shine's starting to come off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like he's gonna have to, which I don't think he would ever. The best thing for LeBron if he wants to win another one, where I think Golden State and LA were trying to do a trade to get him there this at the
Mhm.
deadline,
Mhm.
but he's gonna have to go somewhere and not be the man, which I don't see him being able to ever do that. His ego
Yeah.
would not
Yeah.
do
He's
that.
just yeah. He's bigger than life. I mean, he really
Yeah.
is. Like he's and
Like,
he's
if he wants to win another one, he's gonna have to go somewhere that's already got something together. He's gonna have to take less money, be
mm,
not the man there,
hmm
and, he I if he just wanted to win some more championships just to have the numbers closer to Jordan and do that and suck it up, he could easily do that, but I don't think his ego could take the hit.
yeah.
He
Interesting.
loves him some LeBron James.
That is for sure. I'm watching before we escape. I'm watching. I got golf on in here. It's first round of the Genesis. Who's your person? Who do you like?
I don't even know who's in it. Like last week,
Uh
I said Rory, but
yeah.
Rory didn't even play last week.
Roy
So
wasn't playing last week. Yeah, and I had Homa last week, and Homa didn't go deep. Rory's playing this week. I can tell
yeah,
you that much. This is Genesis, man. Everybody's playing. It's the Tiger
yeah.
Open, dude.
I mean, I always pick Rory, and so I'm I want one of these shirts. I root for Rory and everyone except Scheffler.
You don't like Scheffler, huh?
I do not like it. He's so boring.
He's well, I can tell you the leaderboard right now. Cantlay's in first. Janina's boyfriend Spieth was tied, but now he's in fifth. My boys, no, I'm gonna say Max Homa again. It's California. He's a California kid. I think
Yeah.
he'll figure something out. I'm gonna say Homa again. I love Homa, but
He's on the cusp.
what's that?
He's getting close. He's close. He had a good run there in the FedEx Cup last year, so
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
he's getting.
yeah, I like him a
I
lot.
love
He's a good
Hovland.
kid.
Hovland, I like him.
Victor's great. Victor's great.
Um,
He's so
so
understated
wait,
and
how's
always looks
Rory
high.
doing?
What's
How's
that?
Rory doing today after
They just
today?
showed Rory shooting, and he is in 60th right now. But he could click. Who knows?
Yeah.
I just want I want all the who's who to make the cut. That's all. Make the weekend interesting. Just
Well,
make the
that's
cut.
what I'm really interested in the travelers that everyone's going to be making the cut. They've picked so many events this year that everyone makes the cut for those events. So
Mm,
that'll be cool. That if we, I know I have a notification to tell me when the tickets go on sale. They haven't gone on sale yet, which is weird. That usually they put tickets on sale like a year before these
hmm
events, but
Yep.
um, so I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to go to that with you guys.
The women have an event coming to TPC Boston.
Oh,
Yeah, I was just looking at that because I sent it off to Janina and I said I'll be happy if Nelly and Charlie are there, and she knows Nelly Corda. She knows I adore Nelly
yeah.
Corda, and then she's like Charlie who, and I said Charlie Hull, and she looks up, she goes, oh God, I'm like what? She's really good at golf. I'm like
Yep.
how dare you accuse me of objectifying female athletes? I
I'd
would
be
never do that.
down to go. I went to TPC Boston for a couple of the not for a couple for one of the Ducha Banks.
Yeah,
Got to
Deutsche
see
Bank. Yep.
Tiger in
Yep.
his prime,
Yep.
which was phenomenal.
Unreal.
I mean,
Unreal.
this is when there was nobody else that could hit like him.
Yep. Yep.
You know, he was far and above the best player on the course. It was amazing.
Well, I think it's happening this weekend, or maybe now I don't know, but we'll talk about it next week because I'm sure Adam's going to want to talk about it. I believe we have Scotty with us next Wednesday. We will have Adam with us next Wednesday. You'll get me in rubber shoes. Caitlin Clark is going to break the women's collegiate scoring record, and that's happening.
Well, she had a dud this past week.
Well, she had a chance on Super Bowl Sunday to do it actually, but she came up short. So I'm pretty sure it's in her next start. She'll get it done, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's incredible. Her and Juju
But
at USC.
yeah,
they're both going to be amazing.
Like to talk to Adam because the girl who has it, who plays for the Las Vegas Spades or
Mhm.
Aces, whatever they. She's like, oh, I can't wait till she beats me. I hate having this over my. I'm like,
Over your head.
it's, yeah. She's like real bitter about having the record, and
Interesting.
I don't know if she's playing it down, like, oh, I don't want it anyway because she's
Yeah,
getting
because
ready to
it's
be
killing
beat.
her that she's about to lose it.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I'd like to find out what Adam knows about that, because I know none of us know anything about the
No, I know
WNBA.
Caitlin Clark's name and Juju from
Yeah,
USC, and they're
yeah.
both going to be awesome. But other
Oh,
than that,
she's
she's
freaking
so good.
amazing.
She's so good.
If she stays 4 years, she's gonna break Caitlin
She's
Clark's records.
so good. Yep, it's
Yep.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. For Scotty and Adam, who we'll have next week for Rubber Shoes and myself, it is the ATB Show. Go to atbshow.com. Rubber Shoes is back at it in the morning. Are we doing hats and jerseys, or are we just doing hats right now?
Just I gotta finish my hats, and then I
We'll
gotta
go.
update my jerseys after that. I think I have 3 or 4 that I've got since the last jersey of the day.
I love that. And the wrap up will be on in the
And
morning,
I'll be
too.
going
So,
to Montreal, so I might be getting another one
oh,
up there.
boy. Oh, boy. La Habitant. All right. We'll see
Yep.
you in and around the internet. We'll see you next week. We would love for you to share and subscribe and, of course, comment. And you can do all that right here on the YouTubes. All the other links are at atbshow.com. I'll see you, Rubber Shoes. Take care, everybody.